Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be making a shirt, and we're going to do the Everyday Shirt by Ellie and Mac. They are a company that does clothing, and they do the digital downloads. So you'll have to download the pattern, and then like you glue them to, like just school glue the pieces together, and it makes the pattern pieces that you need. I'm going to tilt you down because I've got everything ready here. There we go. Hope you can see. Let me shut the door so we can get rid of the light. There we go. So in this pattern, it is called the Everyday Tee, and this is the quickest, most fun shirt you're ever gonna make. If you're gonna make it, this is a completely beginner-friendly shirt. The sleeves are already attached, so you don't have to put them in. It takes 3 pieces. You got a front, a back, and a neckband, and that is it. This pattern also comes with the relaxed fit, and it comes with the fitted. The fitted is about 1/2 inch-ish or more. I mean, and it's curved more in and everything than the relaxed fit. I'm going to do the relaxed fit today. So I'm going to cut this out. Got my pattern pieces right here behind me. Put these over here so I don't get them confused. So I've just got my front piece here. I'm going to cut it on the fold as the directions say. I have this on the fold. There we go. We're going to cut this piece out on the fold. Alright, so this piece is cut out already. So it says cut 1, so that's all I need on that one. I'm going to fold it up, and I'm going to stick it down in my envelope that I made for it. Okay, so this piece is cut out. This is the front of our shirt. I'm gonna love it. It's gonna be great. So then I'm going to do the back. I wonder, can I get the back out of this piece? I don't think that's gonna be big enough. Be big enough though for my neckband. Let's see. Well, yes, it's going to be perfect for that. Okay. This also has to be cut on the fold. I'll cut the neckband out. Okay. There's the neckband, and it was cut on the fold. Alright, so I'm going to put this piece up. tells you everything you need to know on the pattern piece, as in which direction you need to have the stretch of your fabric going. It tells you how many you need, obviously tells you the pattern piece, whether they need to be mirrored or not. Lay that out. There we go. Let's see if I got that big enough. I do not. I need to go a little bit bigger. The fabric that I'm using here is a ribbed knit, and it's from Olga's Closet, and it is, if you want an order number, here's the order number that I, whoops, where you at? That's what the number is. Not order number, but I mean like SKU number on the fabric. And I made it a little too big now. That's okay. So on this one, as you can see, it says this is the back piece. It's for the relaxed fit, and it says cut to mirrored. So this is not cut on the fold. And to make it mirrored is one of mine is facing up and one of mine is facing down, and that's going to make it mirrored. So I'm going to line it up here. Also too, if you look here, it says the max stretch and the grain line. These is what you want to line up with on your fabric. Okay, so here's my grain line, and my stretch is going this way. So now we're going to cut all the way around this one, where the other one we didn't cut on the fold. I think this pattern is so neat because it already has the sleeves attached. You don't have to put no sleeves in. The next one we do, you'll have to, but I'm just going to start with a beginner friendly one. This one is great for that. It is the Everyday Tee from Ellie and Mac. I will put a link in the description box below. So now where we didn't cut the fold, now we are going to cut, because these have to be two separate pieces, and they're not cut on the fold. Okay. I'm through with this piece because it said cut two mirrored, and I have two cut mirrored. I'm going to put this in my envelope. I'm also going to take these two pieces and fold them up and put them in my envelope as well. So I have everything that I need here. I'm going to be using a serger to sew this. If you don't have a serger, you can use a stretch stitch on your sewing machine, like a double needle or a zigzag stitch, something like that. But I'm going to use a serger, so I'm going to head over there. Hang on, wait, before we leave and go over there to the serger, what we're gonna do is prep some things and get everything ready. We need to get our neckband ready. We'll need to turn this, put this right side together, and we're gonna sew down the straight back side. Okay, so we're gonna lay this here. Let me get my clips. You can use clips or pins. I'm just gonna use clips. Clip down there, I'm gonna clip here. Lining up the raw edges all the way down. Make sure if you use a sewing machine, you do some test stitches on your fabric that you're using to make sure that you get the best possible stretch without your threads popping. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sew that. I'm going to get my neckband. And what I'm going to do is go over to the iron right here, and I'm going to fold it in half, wrong sides together, and I'm going to steam it. It'll get hot if I turn it on. What this is doing is going to create a memory fold, and after we sew the ends together, it'll be so much easier to turn it with it on a circle than it is now. My iron ain't hot. Remember, when you iron knits, you don't go back and forth. You press, pick up, and move, because you will stretch and distort your fabric. And that's going to be no good. Get hot, get hot. Alright, so one more little spot here. So then what we're going to do is we're going to open it back up where we just put that memory crease down there, making sure it's not twisted, and we're going to bring the two short raw edges together, and we're going to clip them two, and we're going to sew right along here and make a continuous circle. So we've got that and that. Let's see, we got our front. I don't think there's anything to prep on the front. I think it's ready to go. So we'll leave it here and go and sew this and come back here. Alrighty, I'm so sorry for the angle, but I've kind of got limited room right here. So what I'm going to do is sew 1/4 of an inch. Ellie and Mac patterns, most of them have 1/4 of an inch sew seams, but when you hem them at 1/2 inch. So now I'm just going to sew 1/4 of an inch down there. Okay. There's that one, and then I'm going to get my back, and I'm going to sew it 1/4 of an inch. Try your best to keep the weight of your shirt off, like on the table, so that it doesn't pull. Take your time here, guys. This is something you're going to wear, and you want it to be pretty and right. Okay. Keep your raw edges lined up. Making sure you're only catching your raw edges, because as you can see, it's cutting off. the extra bits, and you don't want to cut a hole and say the bottom part here is turned under. You don't want to cut a hole in it because that would not be a shirt when you got through. So line up the edges. And you want. Okay. I can cut my thread tails off, my serger tails off, because I will be sewing them back over on them again, so we don't have to worry about them coming off. Alrighty, so let's go back over there. So now what we're gonna do is take our back and lay it right side up on the mat. There we go. Right side up on the mat, and take our front, excuse me, and we're going to meet it right at the shoulder seams. Okay, so let's do that. Line everything up here. They should match up perfect. There shouldn't be no stretching or pulling at this point. Everything should just lay right on top of it like it was made to, because it was. So we're going to clip down both of these shoulders across the top of the shoulders. This one is going to be so pretty. Okay. I think I told you, excuse me, I think I told you this is a rib knit fabric that I'm using, and it is from Olga's Closet. So we're just going to lay it right on top of it. It's not stretching or pulling. We're not stretching and pulling a thing yet. Okay, and then clip it on. Alright, also, because our sleeves are already on, they're already connected to it, we're going to go ahead and sew straight up the side seams, all the way from the end of the arm sleeve straight, straight down the back. So right here at the armpit where the sleeve is, match them edges up. And then we're going to line the raw edges all the way down. Again, we're not stretching a thing. Everything should just lay right on it like it, just lay flat right on it like it's supposed to. Okay, and clip it on. All the way down both sides. Okay. And do the same thing down this side. All the way from edge of the sleeve all the way down to the bottom. So now we're going to head back to the serger. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were crooked. Now we're going to head back to the serger, and we're going to sew down both sides and across both of the shoulder seams. Okay. Across both shoulders. Keeping the raw edges lined up the best you can. Come here, pedal. Kind of get a anchor it to the machine a little bit, and then you can scooch it and pull it. But you shouldn't have to pull it at all. It should just lay right, just perfect on top. There we go. Get everything lined up. down to this shoulder. Now we're going to go down the sides. Now I will tell you, we have a little curve here. Don't let that intimidate you. Just curve right around like you were on the sewing machine. You want that curve there because that's going to be your armpit. Okay. So if you can see, hope you can see me. I'm just kind of pulling it straight a little bit. See there? And then sewing straight down. And I'm done with the armpit. One more side seam. Now see, because we serged it, it still stretches and the thread's not popping. So you need a really good stretch stitch on your machine. So you can use a serger, or you can use like the lightning bolt stitch is a stretch stitch. It's kind of like a lightning bolt on there. Double needle is a stretch stitch. Your zigzag, your triple, the one that has like 3 dots, the triple stitch, or that's a zigzag. I mean, that's a stretch stitch. I have a serger because my machines are all straight stitched, and a straight stitch don't work, so I had to get a serger. Alright, let's head back to the counter. Alright guys, so we're going to take our neckband, and what we're going to do is we're going to fold it back in half, wrong sides together, and I'm going to clip it. And because we did that memory fold on it, kind of just folds right back down right by itself. Might have to help it in a spot or two. There we go. So I clipped it right on the seam. Oop, you can't see. There we go. So I clipped it right on the seam, and that's going to be our back seam. So that's going to be our back middle. And then what we're going to do is come over here, and we're going to put a clip, and that's going to be our front middle. Then we're going to take it, and we're going to quarter it. So we're going to do that one more time. I'm going to line my clips up. For some reason my fold right there don't want to lay flat. Alright, so now I'm going to line my clips up in the middle, put them on top of each other, just like that. I'm going to come out to this side and add a clip, and that will be 1/4. And then I'm going to come out to this side, and that's going to be another 1/4. Okay, so we have 4 quarter points on our neckband. We have to make 4 quarter points on our shirt. So I'm going to turn this right side out because you want to sew your neckband to the outside of your shirt. Okay, so we already have 2 shoulder seams. So if we'll put our shoulder seams together and come out to the back middle, that's where our seam is that we sewed in the back. So then you want to come out to the front, making sure everything's straight, lined up, and that's our front middle. Okay, so then we want to come and take, I'm going to put a clip right on my back seam. So if you'll put your front and your back seams together, your clips together, and come out to the side, that's going to be our first quarter. And as you can notice, my seam is right here, and my quarter point is right here. So your seam is not your quarter point at all. Okay, and mine is a good 2 inches off. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to line up my front and my back. I'm going to come out to this side. Okay, and that's going to be my quarter point. So these marks that we just marked on the shirt are going to be the marks that we line up with our neckband. I want my seam in the back so it's less noticeable. So I'm going to sew it to the outside of my shirt. So I'm going to take and line the seams up here in the back. I'll take this clip off, line them up, and clip it on here. I'm going to make sure it's not twisted. I'm going to go to the next quarter point, line up the clips or pins or whatever you're using, and clip it in place. And then we're going to just circle on around. So we're going to go to the middle. So I'm at the middle front of my shirt, making sure the neckband ain't twisted, lining up my clips, and then clipping the band on right there. Now we're going to go to the last quarter point, making sure everything's going to lay flat and nice. Lining up the clips, clipping this one in. Now as you can see, obviously the neckband is smaller than the shirt. I'm going to lift you up a little bit and move you back so you can really see what I'm doing. There we go. So now what I'm going to do is, in between the 2 quarter points, I'm going to pull it until they line up. Like I'm pulling the shirt and I'm kind of gripping it here in the middle, and I'm going to put a clip. Okay, so I'm stretching it. This is the only time you stretch it, is when you're doing your neckband or your cuffs or things like that. We'll get to them later on. I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to stretch until they line up in the middle. Okay, I'm going to take it one more time. I'm going to hold it like this. I'm going to stretch until they line up across the top of the raw edges. And I've got it pinched in my scissored in my fingers there. And I'm going to do that one more time. So what this is going to do is it's going to draw your neck in some so that it doesn't flop and flip off your shoulders and stuff. Okay, so I'm going to do this one last time. I'm going to grab the clips. I'm going to pull them and scissor it kind of halfway in between in my hand and clip it on. Okay, so now as I sew it onto the shirt, again with my serger, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it a little bit and sew here. Advance a little bit, pull it a little bit, sew it. Pull it until they line up all the way around until my collar is on. So let's head to the serger. Alright, so I'm going to start in the back of my shirt where that seam is at. It's going to be the less suspicious place. And I've learned that it's easier to sew with the band up. So my band is right here, it is on top. I'm going to take it and kind of pull it a little bit and hold it in between my fingers. And I'm going to remove that clip and stick it under my foot. Put it down and sew until it's caught. Put my needle down. So now it's anchored to my machine. So then I'm going to come here, I'm going to come to this next one, and I'm going to pull and pull it a little bit and sew to my clip and stop. I'm going to take that clip off. I'm going to sew to this part. Uh-oh, somebody's here. Sew to that clip and stop. I'm going to continue on around that way. Making sure the raw edges are lined up all the way around. Almost back around. Okay, so now I'm back at the back of my shirt. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to seam the neckband down, making sure the seam and everything, the seam is going all the same direction. All the way around. There's our shirt, guys. All we have left to do is hem it. So what I'm going to do is take my sleeve, I'm going to fold it under 1/2 inch and take it to my cover stitch. So I'm going to go back to the iron and press it down here in the sleeves, and also at the bottom I'm going to fold it under 1/2 inch and press it and then cover stitch it. Guys, this is my cover stitch machine, and I'm going to be doing my hems on this. If you don't have a cover stitch machine, you can zigzag it. You can even do like a roll hem if you want on your serger. So I'm going to start at the armpit area so that my starts and stops aren't quite so noticeable. And I probably should change my thread color, but I'm not. I'm going to leave it as this cream because there's cream in it. Probably going to be a big mistake. Okay, so I'm going to do a 1/2 inch seam allowance. coming back around to where I started at. And I'm going to trim off these tails. And there's that one hemmed. Okay, I'm going to do the other one. Alright guys, we're all finished. I'm going to try it on and be right back and show you what it looks like. Alright guys, here it is. Look how adorable this is. I love the low back here. I love the neckline. It lays really nice and pretty. Everything's good. The hem at the sleeves. Love it. So pretty. Alright guys, that's what I got for you today. I will see you guys in the next one.